Hello and welcome back to the Comfort Zone podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about situations, stories, and experiences where we have gone out of our comfort zone in a comfortable environment. And our first guest, so exciting and so special, is my dear friend, Alex.
Hello. Thank you for having me. So happy to be here, obviously.
Alex, aka AC Floral Studio on TikTok, has how many followers now?
Like combined 1.7 million, like 1.3 TikTok, like almost 400 on Instagram. So yeah.
So this is gonna be a really fun and exciting talk because, well, we met on social media, right?
We did. Like how long ago? Like 3 years ago now?
3 years ago, yeah.
Crazy. Time flies.
Literally, I remember at the time you still had like 200,000 followers or something.
Yeah, or less maybe. I feel like somewhere around
and
there.
then you just grew. Anyway, so in the Comfort Zone podcast, we always start off with something that makes me a little bit more comfy, which is skincare.
Nice.
And I just got back from the Philippines, so I brought some sheet masks. These are all from the Face Shop. I have a rice one. You have an olive oil one. So let's just put this on.
Gorge. Thank you for this. This is fun.
Have you ever tried these Korean sheet masks?
I mean, like once or twice, but like I'm really not a skincare girly. I need to get into it, but I just
I'm like so obsessed with Korean skincare right now.
I used to be when I was like 16, and then I just stopped when I was like 20, and now I just like wash my face with soap, and I'm like good to go.
I actually we're gonna look a little crazy, but
you're like a pro with yours. I'm still trying to unfold my...
I actually wear this every time I get on a flight. I'm not even kidding.
Do you?
I look like the crazy person in a plane.
No, but good for you. It's so drying. Like the
I
air
know.
on
I hate it. I literally hate like going on a plane and feeling crusty. So I'm the crazy person that always puts the sheet masks on.
No, good for you. I fully support that. I have like the, like the little amenity kit they give on the planes. Like I just spray it all the time because I love the hydration. But okay, I'm just got this under my fringe.
You can do it. Anyway, Korean skincare.
Beautiful.
I got back from the Philippines and like my suitcase was so expensive.
Oh, really?
Expensive, sorry. My suitcase was so overweight because I brought so much stuff.
This is so nice, so cooling as well.
Yeah.
Oh my god, maybe how's my hair?
Looks great. Maybe, hold on, let me fix it.
Thanks.
There we go. Okay.
Wait, maybe I should like just check what I look like for this podcast on my...
Here, check in.
Okay. Oh, well, okay, it looks crazy, but never mind.
Well, that's the point.
Within reason.
We're out of our comfort zone.
That's true.
Yeah, actually, like, in the first episode, I kind of, like, explained that when I was younger, I don't know if you had the same experience, but I would not leave my house without makeup. So just, like, being on camera without makeup and wearing this wild,
brave.
sheet mask is so out of my comfort zone, but I'm getting better.
Good for you, though.
I've actually been, like, leaving the house without makeup. I've been posting videos without makeup.
As you should. You're gorgeous without makeup anyway. You definitely don't need it.
My eyelashes are on their last leg. This is, like, 6 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm getting a fill tomorrow. But anyways, so let's share a little bit about how we met, because...
So... yeah, it was like 3 years ago, I think, on TikTok. And I remember thinking at the time, because like, you came up on my TikTok, and I was like, should I message? Should I not? Like, I really don't know if she's going to reply, because like, I think you had like almost 100,000 followers.
Oh, I'm like plateaued. I'm like at 80,000.
Well,
but like,
I'm plateaued
I'm
now as well. But, like, at the time, I feel like, I don't know, I had like maybe just a few more than you, and I was like, oh god, she's so famous, because at that time you were going viral like every day for your content in Madrid. So I was like super nervous, and I feel like I even like saved your profile for like a week or something, and I was thinking about like, oh, how should I reach out? And then like, yeah, I built up the courage, and then I texted you on Instagram.
No, but I'm so glad, because we've been friends actually we've been friends for 3 years, and this is the first time we've actually done something together for social media.
That's crazy.
We've never ever like
crazy.
We've never done like a collab video, but I think like that's like friendship. You know what I mean? Like that's real friendship.
Yeah, that's
We're not
true.
like, because like I feel like a lot of the times with influencers or social media people, it's very transactional, and sometimes people just only hang out with you so that you can make a video together. But we just hang out because we like each other.
Yes, 100%.
I remember we went.
We should do something though, like thinking about that we've never done anything together. That's crazy.
I know we do. Like, we really do.
Let's make a mental note.
So, Alex, from pandemic, you started your TikTok in pandemic, or when did you start?
Yes, I I feel like I uploaded my first video in like, I want to say like November 2020, something like that. And then like nothing happened. So I just left it. And then I uploaded maybe a couple more in the January 2021. And then literally my fourth video, which I posted in February 2021, at the time went kind of viral. It got like 200,000 views on the first 24 hours.
Nice.
And at the time I was like, wow, crazy. And then, yeah, it just kind of like went from there really and sort of snowballed. And now I'm plateaued as well, so.
Nah, it's okay. It's all about the
Crazy.
community, you know?
Oh God, but yeah, it is.
So for those who don't know who AC Floral Studio is on social media, tell us a little bit about your content.
So I do flowers. And I guess like the reason why I started doing social media and stuff was because I always wanted to like democratize flowers in inverted commas and just make them so much more accessible for everyone. Just like at the time nobody was doing flower content,
Yeah.
and now it's like it's really nice that you see like a plurality of content. You see lots of different people making videos with flowers, and that makes me so happy. But at the time nobody was doing anything, and I was like, why can't flowers be on the same level as like the makeup people or the fashion people or like all these really creative people that you watch online? But like flowers didn't really have that space at the time, and I was like, okay, I really want to do something just to like kind of get flowers out to as many people as possible and kind of make them more accessible for like younger people and people our age and things. That's kind of really why I started doing social media. And it was that, and also I think at the time it was like we're in the pandemic and I just started my business, so there was like no real opportunities for me to be creative and like doing events and like stuff because there was nothing. It was like the toque de quedas, what it was. Like, and so like being online, it kind of gave me a space to like be creative and like practice flowers. So that's kind of like why I started, I guess. And
but what did you start in flowers? Like, how was it always something that you were interested?
yes, it was. And actually just before the pandemic in the February, like, so when I first moved to Spain, because I've been here for 6 years now, I was kind of like in a process of like figuring out who I was and like, yeah, right. But I mean, me personally, I still haven't figured out who I am.
I think I'm getting there.
That's good.
Is this therapy?
That'd be so nice if it was. But yeah, anyway, so it was like the whole process of sort of like figuring out who I was. And like in that journey, I've always loved doing flowers, like with my grandmother and with my mum. And then like when I was living in London as well, I used to do flowers all the time for my house. But like never anything like formal. So I came to Spain, I was just like, you know, whatever, like figuring out who I was as a person. And then I decided I wanted to go and do a flower course in London and like actually try to like just like see where that would take me. And yeah, I mean like I went on the first day, as soon as I like walked through the doors, it was like no turning back for me. It was like love at first sight and just like such a strong connection.
That's okay. So that's so nice, because I remember you mentioning to me before that you actually studied like Russian.
Yeah, I did. This is something completely different.
But we pivoted. Like I studied finance, and now I'm doing
so
what I studied finance. Then I became an English teacher, and now I'm in marketing.
Crazy. But I think you have to be like that in life, though. You just have to like be open to
change,
and
opportunity,
just see what the universe
possibility.
wants for you. It's always a plan.
But no,
Your journey is crazier, though, I feel. Like
you think?
Yeah, I mean, like everything that you've done and like, all, you know, the moves, like different continent and like such different like sectors that you've worked in as well.
Yeah.
Like finance to teaching to marketing, like that's a big change.
Actually, it is. What's the next change?
Podcast host and YouTuber.
Host, TV host, who knows?
I see that for you. Let's manifest it.
We'll manifest it. But like, I think like, for me, I remember until I came to Spain, I had genuinely not lived in a city or a town for more than 5 years.
That's crazy.
Like my whole life. I was thinking about it, like, because I was born in the Philippines. I stayed there for 3 years because I was 3. Moved to Canada. And then while I was in Canada, we lived in like Ajax, Mississauga, and Brampton. And that was within 6 years. So 3 different towns in 6 years. Then I moved back to the Philippines and I stayed there for 5 years again. And then after Milton, until like for like 3-4 years, then university, which was 5 years, and then back to like literally the longest.
Like, yeah, it's like the place where you've been the most.
Yeah, actually, like Madrid is the place where I've been the longest uninterrupted.
Yeah,
because like technically, like the Philippines, I was born there, but I was like 3, and then I was there for that's like 8 years, but like separated.
Yeah.
Madrid is the place where I've been the longest, and I sometimes, you know, I get like an itch, like I want to move. Yeah,
really.
Sometimes I do. Should I just like get up and move again?
Maybe. Yeah, I know what you mean. Maybe you should. Where would you go?
I actually love the coast of Spain.
Oh, so you'd stay in Spain?
I think I would stay in Spain, but I would like to like work remote and work by the beach and see the...
I feel like as well, like, 'cause you remember you went to Cardiff like a year ago, 2 years ago, and you were like, you
yes.
came back and you were like, oh my god, rent is so cheap, like it's so beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
we should move to Cardiff. And I was like, yeah, do it.
Yeah, I wish. But, so I moved to Spain because I kind of like didn't really like finance in
really?
Canada. Why did you move to Spain?
Honestly, I don't have a very good answer for this at all. I just like, it's always been a place where I feel happy. And
Yeah.
that's like literally my only reason. I mean, I did an exchange here when I was 15. And then after my study abroad 7 years ago, I was in Finland for like the best part of a year. And then like, I mean, obviously it's like so dark and so cold. Like in
Yeah.
December, it's like 1 hour of sunshine. And even it's not sunshine, it's like the sun comes up and goes down. So I just needed sun. And I was like, okay, I need to like go somewhere and like, I don't know, just like get out of my head and sort of like try and find myself again. So I came to Madrid for like 5 weeks, just rented a flat, like was here,
See how it goes.
read a lot, walked around everywhere, had like great food, made friends. And then I went back to London because I had to finish my studies. And when I finished, I was like, do you know, I really want to go back to Madrid because I had such a good time like the previous summer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then I came intending to stay for like a year or two, and now it's like 6 years later.
That's
and
wild.
Yeah, it happens though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
like
it
you meet a
does.
lot of people who are like, oh, you know, I'm just want to come for like a year or something, and then like 10 years later they're still here.
The first time I came to Madrid was for a school trip.
Oh really?
Yeah, we had a high school trip, Spain, France, Italy. Obviously, it was so expensive. I had to like get sponsors, aka my parents and my grandparents, to help me go to Spain. But like at the time, I was in my Italian era. I was obsessed with Italy. Still love Italy. Love the food. Love the people. Love
No,
the
for
language.
sure.
But I was like studying Italian. I was like obsessed with Italy. I was trying to learn Italian recipes. So I was most
Right.
excited for the Italy part of that trip. And I think because I hyped up Italy so much in my brain, not that I was disappointed, but like it didn't surprise me or didn't get that spark, you know? And when I came to the trip, Spain was the one that surprised me. I was like, oh, I love this place.
That's I had no idea. That's like
Yeah.
how like your first contact with Spain.
Well, that's because like I like had a crush on an Italian boy. So obviously I had to learn the language and everything about the
Obviously.
country.
So extra, so you know.
So that's how it started. So speaking about social media and your business, can you give us a little bit of a run through on your business,
Okay.
on social media, like on and offline?
So I feel like my business, I've got like two like kind of very separate branches, even though it's like one and the same. It's like my online stuff and my offline stuff. So my offline stuff is obviously like events, weddings, bouquets. I did have a bouquet service in the UK last year, but like it's on pause for the time being, just because I'll get into that like later. I don't want to like talk bad about anybody.
No worries.
But I just felt like the team I'd hired, it wasn't a great like fit. So for now that's on hold, but I still do bouquets in Spain and stuff, and like if anyone needs a special order I still do that. And then my online incomes, which is like brand partnerships for social media. I have my membership, like online courses, and I think that's it for my online stuff.
Can you give us like a little bit of a breakdown of like your income streams? Where do you earn the most? Do you earn the most making bouquets? Events, partnerships, your online courses, your community, your books?
Yeah, oh my god, my book as well.
Yeah, you have a book.
I have a book as well. Definitely brand partnerships, 100%. It's kind of strange, like it's most of my days are like obviously taken up with like social media, like creating content, and then like physical work, like doing bouquets and like whatever, like here in Spain. But most of my income, like 80 to 90% of like my income comes through brand partnerships.
Wow.
Even though I only have, I think last year I averaged at like one every 2 or 3 months, and I'm like judging by the way it's going now, it's kind of, well actually it's slightly more than one every 2 months, but like
What?
it's thanks. It's generally that's kind of like how it is for me. Like I don't have brand partnerships like every single week, but the ones that I do have, I'm so grateful for. They're like really big ones, and they're like really big, well-known companies as well. But they're very specific because I'm a very specific type of content creator. Anyway, sorry, I'm just rambling. But like, so I don't do them like every week. But that being said, they still make up like the biggest part of my income, just because like they're such big value kind of like products, I guess.
I mean, that's what we hear about all the time with social media, that the money is not from the views.
No,
it's not from TikTok.
I mean,
TikTok pays you pennies.
They've stopped that as well now since February. Like the Creator Fund, they stopped, and like Instagram.
I should withdraw right now my 50 euros.
You should. Like I did mine as well, like a couple of weeks ago, because I was like, shit. Like, what if you can't even withdraw it? But I was thinking about this the other day. Like YouTube pays its creators, which I think is great. But like TikTok, it puts ads on everything now. Like there's ads before and after people's content, but like you don't get paid for that, do you?
No.
So anyway.
Interesting. Well, also TikTok got recently banned or something.
Yeah, they're like.
Well, I'm not really. We don't know too much about U.S. things. I'm Canadian. Alex is from the U.K. So I have heard about the TikTok ban in the U.S., but we don't know enough to comment.
No.
So some of the big things that I remember when we were first, like, in the beginning, before you had a manager agent, you would call me and ask how to negotiate.
Oh my God, yeah. And I think at that time as well, you were getting, like, brand partnerships in as well.
Yeah. Like little ones.
But we'd do it for like no money at all. And we'd be like, yay, well done, you've done it. And like cheering each other on. But
we literally didn't even know like the value.
No,
like we were just like, oh my God, 5,000 euros?
Yeah.
That's good.
No,
right?
or even less. I remember my first ever one.
I think it was like 1 or 2.
Mine was, my first ever one was like 250 euros. And now it's, I mean, like, just trying to do the maths, like now it's like 100 times like that what I would charge for like,
That's
my
wild.
biggest one has been like multiple 5-figure brand deals, but like back then, and I remember like, I mean, you know me anyway, I get very stressed about social media. I'm always like sending April my stuff, like, how does this look? What do you think? And like, even the first negotiations, I'm sure we were both like, do you think it's too much money? Do you think it's not enough? Because obviously back then we were wanting to do all these brand partnerships, and like, I think we were just pretty nervous about like not getting it, so you like really lowball the offer.
No, 100%, because like it's like the scarcity effect, you know?
Yeah.
Or like you're not sure when you're gonna get a brand partnership again. You don't want to lose this one, so you're scared to negotiate. But
and I remember you had one when it was like 3 videos for like 450 euros or something, which is still good. But like I remember at the time when we were both like, yay! That's amazing. Which it is amazing.
It is amazing. Like money is money. When we're happy,
true.
We're
money
happy
is money.
For whatever. But
you need to know your worth.
We do.
Because these companies have like massive budgets. Like I can't say the exact name of this company, but it was like one of my most recent brand partnerships that I did. And I was talking to the whole, because I had to go like on location to shoot the campaign, and I was talking to the team and whatever, and we're like, it just came from conversation. And they said that for their company, the monthly advertising spend is $10 million a month. So then that's like a worldwide like budget that they have, but still $10 million. And we're here stressing, thinking like, oh my God, is it too much if I pushed like $300 instead of 250? So you kind of just have to like see it in context a bit, that they have like these massive budgets. And
I also think like a part of like, what's the imposter syndrome plays a part of it. Like sometimes you're like, they want me to
100%.
like I'm like, when they would message me, I'm like, I'm no one. I'm
well,
literally an English teacher.
No, you are. I mean, humility is always great. I think it's so, we always need to be humble and stay humble and stuff, but it's one thing being humble and one thing like knowing your worth. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, I can't remember who it was. It's like, I listened to like a few different ones, and she was talking about like how like her first campaign was something like $1,000, and then last year she signed in 1 month $80,000 worth in like a brand. It was like 4 different video. Tina Lee, that's who it was. Tina Lee. She's great. And she was, I'm sorry, where was I going with this point? She was talking about that. Oh my God, like I got distracted. Oh, right. Sorry, back on it.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, and she was saying that like when she first started, like $1,000 was like so much money, and it is like, that's money that like everybody can use and everyone needs, and then to like, but she felt like really uncomfortable about signing with that, and then to feel like fully comfortable like 3 years later signing $80,000 of one deal. But she was saying that like traditional marketing media, you have to hire the model, you have to hire the photographer, you have to hire the space to do the marketing in, you have to hire the editors. Like there's so many different things that you have to hire. So for brands, it's often like so much cheaper just to hire one influencer who does all of that
for you. Yeah,
and
it's
that kind of like helped her to like feel a bit more like confident in charging.
So if any influencers are listening, know your worth.
No, very important.
But okay, so what made you decide to get a manager, and how has that impacted your business?
So, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going to be really honest. I don't know if I should be, but like at the time, I think the general like thing that I was telling everybody, which is true, was that like I didn't feel comfortable like doing the negotiations on my behalf, which is true. I didn't. Like I never really liked to talk money with people. I prefer, I just feel uncomfortable
Yeah.
still to this day. But actually, if I'm kind of like really kind of like thinking about it, it was probably a bit of an ego thing as well that I felt like I have 1 million followers. I should be like represented by somebody at this point. Like it sounds so bad to say, but I think it was like a mixture of both. Like just feeling like the need to like for me as like a creator, I just wanted to have that almost like legitimize me in a way. And also the fact that like I don't really like the whole negotiation part, and it pays to get a manager because she does take 20% of my online earnings, but like right from the get-go she like goes like way higher. She like highballs it and like
Because it's incentivized because she is getting 20%. So
Yeah.
if she gets you more money, she gets more money.
But even with her 20%, I remember that like initial transition from like me representing myself to having a manager. I still earn like way more money even with her 20%, just because she goes for it and like gets the deals. So yes, good to get management.
Fun. Okay, so I also wanted to ask you because there's 2 big projects that you did that I'm really interested about the logistics of. One
Okay.
was the book, and
Book.
one was your online course.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit. Let's start with the online course because that was the first one that you did. No?
Yes. So I've done like, I mean, when was my first online course? Like 2.5 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
So I did the first online course, and then since then I've like created an online membership, and I've launched one other online course, I think, but like kind of different. Back then I was just looking at ways to have like digital products and just ways to kind of like branch out my business and to like reach more people, because I love teaching, I love giving workshops, but I'm based in Spain, so it's kind of like hard to like, it's not hard, but like, just like logistically more challenging to like travel the world giving workshops.
Yeah, and also the market is different because your audience as well on TikTok is like global, international, not just in Spain. Sidebar, I went to one of the workshops and it was fabulous.
You did come. I forgot that. So I think that was why I did the first course, just because I wanted a way of like kind of teaching people and like getting to more people and just like have a different product and just to do something different, because I've been doing socials for maybe like a year at that point, I think. So and it was good. I feel like I learned so much from that. I hired 2 people actually to like produce the whole thing. It was like really well produced, and like it is a really good course. When I watch it back, sometimes I'm just like, it's really weird because I can see how much I've grown since then. But
that's the whole point.
I
Because you
appreciate
did
my
it.
ballsiness for just going and being like, yeah, I can do this.
Yeah, you went out of your comfort zone, and sometimes when we go out of our comfort zone, it's for the best or for the worst. You know, like sometimes, like we're lucky enough we moved to Spain and things worked out. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but then
you
we learn
a lot
from it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for me, for the course, I think, I mean, I launched it as well because I did it with Teachable. I think they were called Teachable. They reached out to me and they were just like, oh, we can offer you this mentorship program and we really want you to make an online course. They didn't pay me anything for it, but they gave a lot of support. So I was like, okay, let's go for it. And I had like them telling me like how much my projected earnings were going to be, and then my friends being like, oh yeah, I know this person who launched that and made 6 figures. And I was thinking, yeah, this is going to be like a really good money earner for me as well. And it just wasn't, because I mean, followers don't equate to money, like
Correct.
ever. And we should never assume that. And we should never expect it either. Just because someone follows you doesn't mean they want to give you their cash. And that's totally okay. Like, just think the amount of people you follow, but, maybe I would, because like I kind of understand from a creator's perspective, but like we should never expect it. And even when you think like, okay, well, 1% of my followers should buy this product, which would be that, it's even not that, because like an online flower course is very specific. It's like 1 for people who are interested in flowers, and 2 people who are interested in learning flowers online. So there was kind of that it didn't quite live up to my financial expectations. But then also, as I was saying, like you can't just launch something and everyone's going to buy it. Like you have to work on it like any business you would build.
You have to market it.
And I didn't. I did like a couple of videos and a few stories, and then was like, oh, why am I not making 6 figures off my course? And it's like, it doesn't work like that. You have
I guess
to
like now you're on the flip side. Now you understand businesses and why they have marketing campaigns
for sure,
and budgets.
For sure. And it was always like, me, that I always get like really, like, how do you say rayado in English? Like, very like
you're in your head?
About like, in my head about like engagement rates and things like that. So like obviously when you like launch a product, you're trying to sell something, like your engagement goes down, and I would like hate that for my course. But it's true that like engagement has nothing to do with money. Like some posts that have like no engagement on could be like a really big value post, and you can make a lot of money off of it. So
I see that with mine as well, because people, I'm sure people follow me because of like Spanish sayings that don't make sense in English or random things in Spain, and my content was all like Spain, 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 and now personally I feel like that space is very saturated, and whenever I try to pivot, literally nobody gives a shit, because they followed me for the Spain stuff. And I think that's similar. When it's also great to niche down and to be a leader in your niche, but also when you're so niche, it limits what you can do creatively.
And you shouldn't like corner yourself as well. It's like being niche but still being kind of like open. And you're so right with what you say, but I think sometimes you just have to like push through, and you just have to, even if you get like no engagement and people don't really like it, like you have to do it. And I don't know if you feel the same, but sometimes I'm like, if I could start over, I mean, I'm so grateful, like as I'm sure you are, for like everything social media has given us, but if I could start over, I would do so many things differently. And I would definitely be more myself, like all the time, do more talking videos, and as you say, like just kind of like keep your content a little bit more vague, because then when you do try to, like once you've built a following and then you try to pivot, it's really tricky, because people, they're like, what is this isn't why we follow. But people change, right? Like
people change, and
you're not the same as you were 4 years ago or 3 years ago when you started. And
definitely not. And like it's so funny because I see people online making similar content that I made 3-4 years ago, and like I'm like, ugh, I feel like I can't relate anymore, because I'm different. I've grown. I'm no longer a teaching assistant. I'm no longer a language assistant here in Madrid. I now work. I now pay taxes. I'm a resident. I go through, I'm now adulting. So tell me a little bit about your book.
My book, yes, well, it's like a whole drama with that. So
I remember.
It was supposed to come out in July last year, 2023, and now it's coming out. I've got the publication date of like 16th of July 2024, so 1 year delay. But sometimes it's good to do that, just to like take a step back and like iron out all the creases. And I do feel like very supported by my publisher, and I do feel very, very lucky, because I know that, so I don't own my book, right? Like I was hired to write it, and I wrote it, and I did it, but I don't own it. It's just like in my name. Like, you sign that way in the contract. So like the publishing house, when I came with my worries, they could have been like, no, we're going to publish it anyway. But basically what happened was 3 days before publication, I got the physical copy of my book. And obviously I wrote it, I conceptualized it with Rafa, the photographer. Like we did all the photos. We took a year and a half to make it. So like I know the book inside out, and I've seen the PDF a billion times, because you know, they were giving like feedback, like whatever, and like I was happy with it. But then like a few months went by, and then I got the copy like 3 days before publication, and basically, long story short, I really just didn't like the format it was done. I didn't like the paper, I didn't like the cover. I felt that it looked kind of cheap, and it felt cheap. It didn't feel like something worthy of like me and my brand. And I think at the end of the day, like I just wouldn't have felt comfortable selling it to my followers at that price point. I just felt it would be a little bit abusive.
But that's good. You know, that's integrity, because someone could just be like, here's my book, give me my check.
No, I wouldn't want that, because I think, I don't know how much it's on the market. I think like $23-24 is what it sells for. And yeah, I just feel like it's a lot of money for people to have to pay and to support me like that. That if you're going to pay that out of pocket, you need to get something that looks and feels like a book that's worthy of $24. And I just wouldn't want people like paying that money and then getting something which feels, or which felt kind of like a free pamphlet. It didn't sit well with me. So
okay, so on a scale of like Vogue coffee table book and IKEA catalog,
like less than IKEA catalog.
Stop. Okay, well I think that was a good choice for you then, because like $23 for like IKEA catalogs are free. Yeah.
That's kind of what I felt. And so yeah, and normally like I don't really like to send like very hot-headed emails. It's like, remember Dorinda, she says like, write it, regret it, say it, forget it. And I always think like, okay, you just need to sit with something for a couple of days and then like make a phone call and talk things through like properly once you've kind of like, or that's me, like once I've kind of like assimilated it. but like obviously we had 3 days to publication, so I was like, I had to just write something out really quickly, and I was just like,
that's stressful.
I am not going ahead with this publication. I refuse to be involved in it, like just being like really like dramatic, but it's how I felt at the time. I was like, I can't do it. It just feels so abusive to like ask people to pay that money for something and then send them out something which feels like a catalogue, you know? So anyway, long story short, we had lots of meetings for like 2 months, and it was a bit touch and go, but I just had to like stay true to myself and stay true to what I knew, and I was willing to like pay back the money that I'd had for my advance and any legal fees that I'd have to, just to get like a product that kind of felt like that I was happy with, you know, and that I'd be happy with like selling to my followers. And in the end, everything worked out fine, you know, they were...
That's so good. Did you have, like, I don't, obviously, maybe you cannot disclose, but were there legal fees?
No. I have to, like, I think I can disclose everything. I'm pretty sure I can. Just, you know, I remember on the last call I was saying, like, how do I... Because at the time, I was, like, doing all this, like, my book's coming out, and then it just didn't come out, and there were, like, 200 people had done the pre-order, and the book didn't get there.
Shit.
So I was just saying, like, what do I say to all these people? And they were like, no, you can tell the full story, say exactly what happened.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, yeah, I think it's okay to talk about the money. So now it's just like my royalties are slightly different, just because obviously they'd printed like 15,000 copies of a book that I then said I refused to publish, which I understand they'd put a lot of money into this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, which it's fair. It's totally fair. I don't mind that. And I'm happy, like I get a product that comes out that I'm happy with, that I think my followers are going to love, that I feel like people are going to really enjoy looking at and reading and seeing the beautiful photography from Rafa, because he's so talented, my photographer, and he did such an amazing job that it was kind of that as well. I just felt like it was an injustice to him and all of the graphics department who'd worked on the book, like at the publishing house too, that I just wanted it all to shine. So yeah, I'm happy with it now. I think I haven't seen the full physical copy, but like I've seen like a dummy mock-up, and
it's coming out in July.
So
fingers crossed everything goes well, but I think that's an amazing like example of standing your ground and being true to yourself and true to like your values and your followers, and like kudos to you, because I genuinely would feel intimidated.
No, I did, but I just like, I don't know, I had strong convictions about it, and like I always try to be the most authentic and true version I can to me. So I just feel like it's just really important always, and that kind of like superseded like my nerves and like being really scared about it. So
Alex has a lot of things going on. Super successful business. Lots of pull and influence on social media. You're able to basically like make this your full-time job.
Yeah.
Which people don't understand is actually quite difficult. Like people are like, oh my god, I have like 50,000 followers on TikTok. I'm gonna quit my full-time job. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because I'm sure you can attest that being a content creator, being an influencer is like this. It's like a wave. The stability is gone. And you don't know longevity, we don't know.
No, I mean, I think as well, like talking of longevity, it's like how many people that you followed like 10 years ago on YouTube do you still like religiously follow today? Like you don't. Like it has like a very short lifespan, and I think social media is always like a means to an end of something, and we've spoken about this before, because I remember that you were saying that your journey on TikTok, you like, we had the conversation that thanks to TikTok you got that job. So that was like the role of TikTok in your life was to get from like A to B and like to do that transition in your life and get this amazing job. And I think it's kind of the same for everybody, but yeah, it is a roller coaster, and to be a full-time content creator sometimes, you know, because it's like almost taboo now, like we're not allowed to complain about it, because there's that whole video with Michaela on TikTok, and she was like,
I work 9 to 5.
Yeah, and then like everyone was just like, stop complaining about being an influencer, it's the best job in the world, blah 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 blah. And it's true, we shouldn't complain about it, but I also think it is a job like any other job, and we can't make it a taboo. Like we have to be able to like talk about our stresses and talk about our anxieties and say why, you know, like otherwise it just...
That's transparency, because all of these kids, literally when I was teaching, all of my kids wanted to be an influencer. Yeah. I'm like, then I'm not saying I'm a full influencer, you know? I've only dipped a toe in the pond.
Well,
and like it's not easy. And I think like
it's a great job. It's a lot of pressure. It is a great job. It is, but there's still a lot of stress, a lot of pressure that goes with it, and it's different to a 9 to 5. It's not better, it's not worse, it's just different.
I think like being an influencer or a content creator, you have to realize you're a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. You are the CEO. You're the manager. You are the company.
No.
You know? So, like,
and
it's
we
a
always
fun,
need to stay
great...
humble as well. Like, I think a lot of times with social media that, especially when you're starting out, that we feel like very entitled to things. And it's just not like that, you know? Like, yeah, I don't know where I want to go with that point. It's just something I notice about, like, kind of, you know...
But speaking of social media, we've spoke about this a lot. And I hope this doesn't come off as complaining. But some of my anxiety is like hate and negative comments. And I know you've also felt the same. How do you manage that? Because personally for me, I genuinely think one of the reasons where I've kind of slowed down on TikTok is because like a year ago I got so much hate on this one video that went... was republished. Anyways, I don't want to get into it. But it was republished by another publication. Everything was misconstrued. It was taken like super out of context.
It was so harsh what happened to you back then. Like, so...
Yeah. And it just like... Anyways.
I mean, also, like, what you said in the video was true. Like, you didn't say anything. Like, if people get offended by it, I mean, you weren't rude. You were just, like, saying facts.
And it was also a TikTok trend that I think maybe the boomers at this particular news organization did not get. But it was very interesting to see the difference of my community and my followers, which I think that I have quite a nice, healthy group of people. Them, then, like, I see all of their comments. And then right when that news publication published an article about it, all of the people who just read the news article aren't so socially aware of like what happens on social media started just attacking me. And I genuinely think like that's the reason I'm kind of slowed down. I'm a little traumatized. Sad. I'm not even kidding. Like I think like
that's so sad. Honestly.
It just gave me so much anxiety and like normally when I do get anxiety, I swear to God, I don't know if it's the same for you, but I need like 2 days. I need like a good 48 hours to like process, kind of like shut everything out, and then maybe I'll feel better.
Yeah, but a year, that actually makes me really angry that like we're giving so much power to those people who've essentially kind of like stopped you from your career. Yeah, I don't know. But I decided that the reason is like maybe this isn't my medium and I wanted to do podcasting, and I've always wanted to try to do this. No, I know. So let's see how this goes. It could go great, it could go bad. It's gonna go great. But at least I'm trying. It is, because you're doing it with like love and good intentions, so it's gonna go great.
Thanks.
I know it.
But how do you deal with it? Because I remember...
Yeah, it definitely changes over the years, because this is what my third year of doing it now, which I guess in an online space is kind of a while. It changes. At first, when it first happened, I used to hate it, like that. Like I would completely shut down. It would really, really stress me out. I feel the same. Like the people who follow me have always got my back. Like they always, support me and lift me up and send such nice messages and such nice comments. But it's just like if a video hits the wrong side of TikTok, or if another account takes your video and reposts it, and then you get like all of the comments, and like especially 2 or 3 years ago on TikTok when people would stitch your videos, and then you'd see like whole trains of comments and comments about you. Now I just like... It doesn't happen that much anymore, like, thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
And I think that's just because, like, now I just try to be authentic and I try to be myself. And I think, not that I wasn't back then, but I was very insecure and very nervous about who I was as a person and as a content creator when I first started.
I remember specifically, it took, like, weeks or months for me to convince you to just speak on a video.
A year. It took a year to, like, even say, like, some words, any words. And then, like, to be talking, like, fluently, or, like, to actually be, like, having a full talking video, I really feel like that I just started last year.
Yeah, no, really. But, like, it's nice to see. And I think your followers like to get to know you like that.
It's important as well, like, because, like, it kind of goes hand in hand with the whole longevity conversation that, like, it just differentiates between, like, niche and novelty, right? Like, you don't want to be too niche, or too novelty, rather, where it's just, like, you do 1 or 2, like, really good videos and people follow you for that. You want to be kind of like niche in the sense that you have like your thing that you do, in my case flowers, but then still like be a fully rounded person that people are invested in, because once people are invested in you as a person, you've got a lot more longevity from it.
I love that. Yeah.
No, but it's true, because they follow you, they support you, they want to know what you're doing, they take like an active interest in your life and all the things that are happening. Whereas if you're just doing like these viral videos, people are going to love the videos that you're doing, but where are you going to be in a year's time or 2 years
Exactly.
time? You're not going to have a career because people aren't really interested in you. So
And I think that's why some of the first influencers are the Kardashians. Because of the show. People bought into it. They feel like they know them. Anyways, so we talked a little bit of longevity, niche, and novelty.
and people like buying into you rather than just like a viral video.
Yeah.
So
Segue, you.
me.
How's your love life?
It's fine. I mean, like I'm quite busy at the moment, I guess, and I broke up with my ex in theory in August 2022, but then like we're very close to each other still. Like we see each other all the time. Like last year we went on a vacation together a few times, and like I'm seeing him next week. Actually, like we're very close. We love each other a lot. We're just not in love with each other. So, it has been like a year and a half, but I also feel at the same time like it kind of hasn't been a year and a half.
How long were you guys together?
I first met him when I was 19.
Wow.
But we weren't together all of that time. That was just when we first met each other. And then obviously we broke up when I was like 26, almost 27. So he was definitely in my life for like a very long time. And,
so how do you manage that? Like...
badly, I would say, at the moment. It's a process. It's definitely a process. And I just have to honor that process and just try to figure things out. And I do feel like this past year and a half has been good to sort of like connect with me and kind of date myself for a while and just experience fully being by myself, even though I'm not, because my ex is still very much a part of my life.
Yeah, but you have that freedom to explore yourself.
Yeah, I do. But I think that's all I can really say. It's a process, just figuring everything out. But
speaking about discovering yourself, in this year and a half, what have you discovered?
That's such a good question. I don't know. I really don't know. It's... Some days I feel like I'm doing great. Like I'm fully independent now, and like I'm working hard. I'm doing everything by myself for me, and I'm proud of myself for that. Other times I do feel like very, very stressed and very overwhelmed, and like that I don't have the support of the relationship, because like you have to understand, like with my ex, like I met when I was so young.
Yes.
And it was such an informative years of my life.
Yes,
and
I agree, yeah.
I had so much dependency, financial and emotional, for so many years, that then to kind of like go and do everything by myself has been like a huge change. It's not just like I don't leave the person, I left my lifestyle, everything. And that's definitely a process. So some days I feel happy with it, and other days I just feel like so stressed out, and I'm like, oh God, Alex, so,
No, but that's something to be very proud of, because you mentioned that you were financially, emotionally dependent on a person for a very long time in your life, since you were very young, and now through your business, your social media, you've been able to literally like spread your wings and become independent.
Yeah, and I am proud of myself. I do realize that like lots of things I'm doing I could never have done without my ex. Like he even paid for my first ever flower course that I went on, and so supportive. And even whenever I have any issues like tax problems, or like now I'm getting my visa for the US and I've got 2 different lawyers, but even like a couple of weeks ago I had like one issue with one of the lawyers, and who do I call? I call my ex straight away, because I'm just so used to having that in my life, and I feel grateful that I've got somebody like that. But yeah, it's a process, I would say. So, I don't know how he feels about everything, but I know we love each other a lot, and that's the most important thing.
Well, that's good. And it's good to recognize that you love each other, but you're not in love with each other.
Because they're completely different things. They are completely different, and I still believe very much in love, and I believe that I can find like a love which is like that, but it's also like an everything type of love, like a passionate love, a supportive love, everything all in one, and I don't feel like you should compromise on that,
I agree, 100%. But it's nice that you still are able to support each other in that way. And speaking of which, you mentioned you want to move to the US.
Yes,
oh my God.
I do.
You're taking a page from my book, 6 years in a city
and then leave. I know, it's crazy. And like now I feel like things are going definitely in the right direction. So what are we in? We're in March now. This is like my relationship with my US visa is like a very long one. I've been like discussing this in my head for probably a year and a half, like a really long time. Sorry, excuse me.
No worries.
For a really long time, and it just like hasn't worked out because I've been busy, I've been working, I've been like going back and forward, and like, at the end of the day, you live in Spain. Like we love Spain. Spain is an amazing place to live.
Yeah.
But so it's always like, oh, do I want to go? Do I not want to go? But anyway, like long story short, so I made the decision like in October of last year that I really definitely wanted to go. So I found my lawyer Denise on LinkedIn, and then
Love that.
yeah, we signed the contract in December. Yeah, end of December. I can't remember when it was exactly. It was like around Christmas time anyway. So we started working on my visa application in January. Obviously, it's like a very lengthy process.
What kind of visa is it?
The O1 visa is an O visa.
I don't know anything about the US, but what does that entail?
So it's a special talent visa. It sounds really obnoxious when I say it, because it's like extraordinary talent visa, and that makes me feel really like uncomfortable. But like I don't make the names; that's just what it's called. And like to be honest, anyone can get the extraordinary talent visa. You just have to prove that you're kind of like a prominent person within your industry. But industries can be very specific. Like Denise was telling me this. Like if you write books, for example, instead of putting like author as your category, put children's sci-fi author, and you can apply within that category.
Oh.
So for me, I'm not applying as a florist, I'm not applying as a social media influencer, I'm applying as a florist influencer, of which like obviously I'm the most followed florist in the world on TikTok for like 2 years now, and I've had like all these brand partnerships with US companies, the book and whatever, so it's kind of like, and like a bunch of articles and stuff, so that kind of like qualifies me for that. So yeah, it's hopefully within the next like week or two I'll be like actually submitting to the embassy, which is really scary, and then I should get my
God, so when are you thinking about leaving?
As soon as possible, I would say. Like I'm ready to go now. I am.
Yeah.
I just need to, obviously these things take time. Like once you send it to the embassy, they have 10 days to reply. It's not
wild. It's gonna be a month.
Yeah, I mean, well, I paid the expedited fee because otherwise they can take like up to 6 months to reply.
Yeah, let's not do that.
And then they either say yes or RFE, which is like request of further evidence. So if they're not fully happy with something, they don't say no, they give you 2 RFEs. So, yeah, there's that. So hopefully it'll be 10 days. And then after that, that's like 90% confirmation that I have the visa. Then I have to ask for an appointment at the embassy in Madrid. That could be like tomorrow or in 2 weeks' time. It just depends like how busy they are. And then that's it. I leave if they are like happy with everything, then I leave my passport, and like 3 days later I can pick it up, and then I'm like good to go. So
where are you going? Because I feel like you're in LA. So you're giving LA vibes.
I actually had to set up my business in, well, like, so the O1 is like, it's a great visa, but it's kind of like silly how it works, that like I can't go as just like me, like a company has to hire me. But what I can do is set up a business being the only person who works in the business and hire myself to work in it. Yeah, okay. So I'm like, okay, it's just like an extra $3,000 and like 2 weeks of work to set everything up. But like, so I had to like set my business up. But America is like a wild place. Like you have to choose a state to like put your business in.
Yeah.
And then you have to work from that state. So it's not like a nationwide thing. So at the time, like I put LA, and like my business is like set up in California. But I'm still between LA or Miami. I don't know.
Well, Miami will still give you that Spanish.
I love Miami.
Vibes,
like, I feel like myself there, and like
you went there with Isabella.
We did when I had to work with Disney.
So Alex worked with Disney and had the coolest room.
It was amazing. Oh my God, it was crazy. Such a blessing, like such an amazing partnership. I feel like, yeah, I cried a lot that trip with Isabella in Orlando, because it was just one of those things that was like pinch me, like, am I actually here doing this? So yeah,
Disney.
It was crazy.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
That was like a year ago.
So
now.
proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you for everything you do.
Well, you know, smaller scale, but still to be proud of.
Well, yeah. You're still doing like amazing things.
Oh, you're so nice. Anyways, so wrapping up, I'd like to say thank you so much for coming on my podcast.
Oh my God, thank you for having me, honestly. Happy to be here.
And also, thank you so much for sharing, being so vulnerable, touching every part of your business, touching every part of your personal life. Now you're moving to the US. And I feel like you are the epitome of what I wanted my podcast to be, which is like someone that goes out of their comfort zone.
Oh, wow.
Regardless if it ends up good or bad. Like with your book, at first, like you weren't happy with it and now you are. Yeah. So
but I love what you're doing with the comfort zone, because as you say, if it goes good or bad doesn't matter, but if you're just being authentic and going out of your comfort zone, like who cares? Like if it goes badly, like you're being yourself and you're staying true.
And we're being brave.
Exactly.
So thank you
You are being very brave doing all of this. It's incredible.
Thank you. I'm here on the internet with no makeup on. And literally 6 weeks of lashes that need a fill.
You look amazing. You don't even.
Anyways, I hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast as much as I enjoyed recording it and filming it with my friend Alex, who has been my friend here in Madrid for the last 3 years. If you enjoyed the Comfort Zone and you want to hear more stories, experiences, and situations, please follow us on Instagram, follow our podcast, and if you would like to see the videos, it will be available on YouTube. So
like and subscribe.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, and I'll catch you in the next episode.